Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Duck Talks number 12. And as you can see, probably with the background footage here in the BTD Destroyer, it has something to do with, at the moment, Norway, right? Well, more on that in a moment. Today we have basically three topics. First of all, where have I been the last week? Hashtag button. Then let's talk a little bit about the mission and what I think about them for the summer event. And then, of course, the big topic, ships. So first about Wacken. I was gone for 1 week, and I was in the northern part of Germany, north of Hamburg, and it was the biggest heavy metal festival in the world, and I got awfully drunk, and it was glorious, together with a lot of metal. I like it. So, then I have to say I'm sorry for the content gap, so to speak. I tried to do daily uploads, or I tried it to do up until now, but then the patch dropped while I was away, and it surprised me a little bit. So there was, when I came back on Sunday, I was busy figuring out all the new stuff. Mostly I'm okay with the new patch, but it's not perfect, but it could have been worse. But on the other hand, again, a few missed chances, but overall okay patch. The lack of content came to that because I could not prepare enough videos, and I had one video prepared. That was the AAA guide, but due to the fact that a little bit has changed, and especially a few German AAAs got a new shell type, and also with the new crew system, or the crew replenishment system, I had to probably redo it, and also it was not done to my overall satisfaction. It's an okay guide, but overall not perfect as I want it to be. Then that leads me on to the missions. Now, for those missions in the summer event, you can win a few tanks or 2 tanks and 2 planes. The first step I already did. I got the Uhu and also the Grand, which is the first tank for the British to actually receive an APHE shell. Funny, isn't it? Well, what about those missions? Well, overall, I see the need for diversion in those mission demands, So not every day, like, destroy 20 enemy tanks, or destroy 5 ground units while flying a bomber upside down. I don't know, But that would actually be funny. The thing is this. I'm okay with missions as long as I can actively do them. So those indirect missions like teamwork or supporting fire or some stuff like this, where you have to depend on a team member or your team, they are not really nice. In fact, the supporting fire for tanks today was an utter disaster. Either it did not count, or it was, or I outright killed the tank with the first shot. Yeah, I know driving Russian tanks while doing it is not the smartest move to get supporting fire. But hey, I tried it, and at the end I did it. But it's not fun. I'm happily shooting down 50 players before I get like 10 supporting fires. And the next problem is with, I think, yesterday or 2 days ago, when you were actually watching the video, there was this mission with bomber rescue and fighter rescue, but I could just, it counted just one times per mission, so I think it was 8 times or 10 times. So when I did it, I had to leave the mission in order to be able to get another one. So when I did like 2 or 3 support fighter or bomber rescuers, just one of them counted, which is kind of ridiculous. Yeah, and then we come to the point where I have to say that if I wouldn't be a hardcore collector, I wouldn't do it. Alright, and while the price for one mission was lowered to 300 golden eagles instead of 600, if I'm not mistaken, or something like that, still, it's some of the missions are done pretty quickly, as I said, like those active missions, right? But when you have to coordinate, even with good friends, it's kind of not very nice to play, and you get sick and tired of War Thunder. And together with the missions you have to do with the for the war bonds, because I actually play for war bonds, and also trying to grind all those crew replenishment modules for all the tanks. Where you have to, or where I drive a lot of the tanks that I was happy to not drive again, like the ISU 122 tanks. I really don't like them. Yeah, it's kind of frustrating, isn't it? But that brings me back to this. To this background footage you see. Exe and I are playing here on Norway with the BTD, as I mentioned. And this was just a test landing. Yeah. I screwed it up. Okay, I have another go. And I picked the BTD because the BTD is at the moment the only single-seated, single-engined dive bomber, torpedo bomber in the game that can carry 2 torpedoes. I tried to get footage with the Heinkel 111 H6, and I had a good match, but I think it's not very exciting to watch because I just managed to do one run. But I have to say, it looks kind of good, the new model. The old model really was not looking very nice, to be honest. And yeah. So, that brings me, of course, to the big topic of today. Today, as I record this, it was announced that there are ships coming into War Thunder, at least the closed beta test. And I have to say, I like it. I really like it. Now for the Gamescom, they promised, or I expected, that there is an announcement like every year, and Gaijin really didn't disappoint us this time, right? Yeah, the thing is, there was one big drawback in the announcement. But before I go too much into detail, I just simply do something that I've never done before. I just simply read the entire post for you. So if you know the post, you probably can skip a few minutes. But for those who don't know about the news, but I guess you have to live under a rock, under the sea. Okay, that was a bad joke. Never mind. So, Naval Battles in War Thunder, closed beta test later this year. Then there is a video, War Thunder Knights of the Sea Naval Battle teaser. The participants of the upcoming Naval Battle closed beta will be called the Knights of the Sea, made up of torpedo, artillery and missile boats, coast guard vessels and submarine chasers. The so-called small naval contingents served in all oceanic theaters of the World War II era. The high level of realism is one of the key design features of War Thunder. Vehicles are as close to their real-life counterparts as possible. Classic large ship battles during the war were a contest of patience and planning, where engagements could last for several hours to several days. In War Thunder, where all kinds of vehicles fight in one battle and players can control aircraft, tanks and ships, it is not possible to change the size of the ships or make time run faster, as everything needs to remain consistent. Our internal testing showed that battles with large battleships would be too long and boring, or required design changes that made ships entirely unrealistic. For this reason, We are focusing on fast attack-based craft, which are rarely reproduced in games. Ships that are more suitable for the formula of our game. These fast, agile and dangerous Knights of the Seas are worthy contenders for aircraft and tanks on the ground, says Kirill Yudintsev, creative director of Gaijin Entertainment. So, then it goes on with all nations will have naval research trees and different ships from each nation will be revealed at Gamescom. Testing will take place on their main game server during special hours. Dev testing team, other invited players and those who purchased one of the 2 starter packages or packs with unique ships will be able to join the closed beta testing as soon as the testing phase begins later this year. The first starter pack includes the Soviet project 1124 armored riverboat with the unguided rocket launcher, the legendary Katyusha. The second starter packet includes the famous American PT-109, a motor torpedo boat on which the father of the future US President John F. Kennedy commanded and performed acts of wartime heroism. Both ships will be available at the start of the closed beta test, as will other nations' vessels. And then you can buy those 2 packages. The first to take part in the Naval Battles of War Thunder will be the visitors of Gamescom 2016. In the game booth in Hall 6, Gaijin Entertainment has organized a special closed area where guests can try their hands as captains of attack boats. For those unable to visit the exhibition, there will be a special video broadcast on the official Twitch channel and new devlog updates each day, where developers of the game will talk about the latest edition, present ships of different nations, and run giveaways of access for the closed beta test for the viewers. More details from Monday. Follow the news. And then there is an initial frequently asked questions section, and I will read that out as well. So, when is the closed test due to begin? Closed testing of Naval Battles will begin this year. How can you get into the closed beta? Closed beta testing will involve invited guests as well as the owners of the 2 starter sets with unique boats, which are already available for pre-order in the Gaijin store. To learn how to get into the closed test team, we will update later. When will the open test start? Opening testing is planned for 2017. What types of boats will be added and for which nations? During the closed test, we will gradually fill the naval line, which will take us to the start of the open test, where we anticipate having enough boats of all 5 ranks for every major nation. We also plan to add new naval modes and locations for the closed test. Will larger ships, cruisers, battleships, aircraft carriers, be available for player control? If not, why do we need torpedoes? Larger vessels, while not available for control by players, but will be presented under the control of AI in some game modes. One of the main tasks of combat torpedo boats will be the destruction of larger ships. Player-controlled destroyers and other large ships may appear later in other game modes. It will be decided based on the results of the closed beta. That's interesting, and I hope that bigger ships will be added later. I will talk a little bit on that in a moment. How will the vessels be researched? Just as with aircraft and ground vehicles. In battles you may earn research points which will open new ships in the research branch of the nation, as well as modules on the vehicles which were used in combat. Question. The ship will be managed by the same crews who now have the players. In other words, for existing crews will add a third specialization ship. Yes, but only after onset of the research branches. Will there be special locations for the vehicles? Of course, sea battles will involve some new locations. In War Thunder, major maritime theaters of World War II will be represented: Pacific, Atlantic, and Arctic Ocean, as well as Mediterranean. Uh, all new maps will feature the new 3D water effects created using NVIDIA Waveworks technology. Sorry about that. When will be the CBT Nations lineup be published? After Gamescom. But on Gamescom, you will be able to check ships from each nation. Yeah, and then there is the normal comment section, and people are really, uh, really excited, and yeah. So, yeah, that was the official side, so to say. And I have to say that the Russian riverboat is really cool. And if I remember right, it costs 25 euros for that starter package, and for the John F. Kennedy's PT 109, 30 euros. And if I'm not mistaken, that's cheaper than for buying in the closed beta tank test. And yeah, is it worth to buy yourself in? Well, that depends on entirely what you think is worth for you. I bought myself the Project 1124 Riverboat because a T-34 turret on a ship, instant win. I really like the look of it, and I personally can't wait for ships to, be playable. And yeah, I also did a podcast a few months ago, where I will link you in the video description, where I speculate like 45 minutes about what I expected. Now, due to this new data, it's outdated, but the speculations, they were overall, I thought it will be a problem because as I just read out, there is no acceleration with time or speed or the size, like we have in World of Warships, which is the obvious game to compare it. And I really see the problem, and I really see why Gaijin, says at first, okay, we will not include big warships. I'm absolutely okay for it for the beta phase. Okay, that's my opinion, just my opinion. And I'm also very happy that we see torpedo boats and patrol boats because they are not represented in World of Warships. And I have a book here where a lot of those ships are in this book. Also, I have one question for the devs. Basically, if someday we will see auxiliary cruisers. If you don't know what an auxiliary cruiser is, that's basically a merchant ship equipped with guns. So yeah, as a raider, especially the Germans use them excessively, and with big success, by the way. Yeah, but also it makes sense because if you look at the size of the maps, I think it wouldn't be a problem. All right, because mostly it's just water, but to get a ship into position, and to accelerate and to stop it and all that funny things, are one thing, but to be able to shoot, like 20 kilometers away, that is a problem. Like ships could shoot like 36 kilometers in the Second World War, and so how close are the spawn areas, and what's the point of driving a destroyer where you have to go relatively close, when a Yamato can potentially sink you from 36 kilometers away. And then will we see a lot of islands? How important are weather effects? I'm really looking forward to that part. Yeah, and also it's very nice because that we see that small ships, because it gives the Russians a good opportunity to get into the game, right? What I mean by that, well, they had no real battleships. They had no battle cruisers, and I don't know if you can fill it up to rank 5. Even with the Germans, you have the problem that they had a few ships, but not too many ship classes. I mean, basically in the Second World War, we had the Scharnhorst and the Gneisenau as the was it the Scharnhorst or the Gneisenau class? Doesn't matter. And we just had the Bismarck and the Tirpitz from the Bismarck class. I think an H-39 class battleship was laid down but never finished. And also the Germans just were about to finish one aircraft carrier, the Graf Zeppelin, if I'm not mistaken. And this brings me to another side point, so to speak. I'm not a fan of ripping out the Italians from the German tree, because while for planes they potentially could, fill a proper tree, a little bit smaller than the Japanese tree, I guess. That's just speculation. But for tanks, they really do not have enough. And also, especially at higher tiers. And then, what's with ships? Because the Germans do not have that many, and together with the Italians, they potentially could fill it together to a really good tech tree. Because the British wouldn't have a problem filling an entire ship tech tree, as well as the Japanese and the Americans. But the Germans, they have a bit of problem, and together with the Italians, Gaijin could have avoided the problem of implementing too many ship designs or blueprints. So that's basically it with that topic, right? Yeah. One final idea, so to speak. Don't expect miracles from ships, okay? Don't be too hyped. Look forward to it, but don't get too crazy about it. And normally, speculations are not too good, but the speculations in the podcast, they have a base, all right? So, anyways, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Please give this video a like if you did. Let me know in the comment section what you think, how much you're looking forward to it. And subscribe if you want to see more of that or hear more of that. Anyways, see you next time on the battlefields.